Welcome to a shorter nonsense horse production because I've been busy and I've shown this locomotive before. B28 was the Pennsylvania Railroad's designation for the USRA 060 switcher. I recently built one of these as a commission, but I liked it enough to build one for myself. After the weathered LS1000 build, I also wanted to try weathering a steam locomotive. I did the PRR variant of the switcher to go with the various PRR locomotives in my fleet and to have a larger tender. More on that in a bit. This model replaced my B28 tank engine. While I liked the strange look of the B8A, and I found the performance absolutely acceptable, even with the pivoting rear end, the design had very poor operating ergonomics. The battery box cover proved very fragile, and removing the box made the body fragile as well. Furthermore, I had to do the swap pretty often, as I don't have enough of the expensive powered-up battery boxes to leave in every locomotive. In general, I had done a bunch of tank engines because I liked the idea of having single-unit locomotives, but I now think the convenience of having an easily accessible battery box outweighs the inconvenience of dealing with having a separate tender. I also wanted a bigger tender than that of my original USRA 060 in order to fit a power functions receiver. Unfortunately, I forgot that the body of the locomotive connects to the studs on top of the We-Do motor, such that no other motors will work without additional modification, and I ultimately haven't done that work. I might do a bit more work on the tender too. Right now, I can too easily pick up the battery box cover without picking up the rest of the tender, though perhaps this beats picking up both and having the base drop out a few inches or a few feet off the ground. While the tenders are pretty different, the locomotives are very same. Aside from the weathering, the PRR engine only differs from the Rock Island engine by a few greebles like the headlight and the roof vents. The roof itself also has a different base color. I described my weathering approach in a previous video, and as far as that goes, well, it's better than the H1044, but not as good as the LS1000 or the Trinity gondolas. Modelers seem to give steam locomotives a much more uniform coat of weathering, to the point that I would have liked to start with an entirely gray engine and unweather select parts of it. Unfortunately, nobody makes a gray or dark gray number 9 driver with a tire, and I do need tires to get adequate pulling performance out of the relatively light engine. On the topic of performance, it seems like this wheelbase is actually a little long for R40 geometry. I had assumed it was safe from the solid performance of older models like the B1 and BR24, but I noticed that the B28 would more regularly jump through switches and skip along curves. It just goes to show that wheelbase alone doesn't guarantee compatibility. The heavier, more equally distributed weight of the former engines makes them work, and the lighter, less equally distributed weight of the latter engine makes it not work. Radii compatibility continues to be a fuzzy topic. Finally, while I don't plan on making dedicated instructions for what I consider a variant of another model, I will include a studio file of this version with my existing USRA 060 instructions on our rebrickable. On that note, this is the end of the video. Please consider subscribing if you like what we do, and have a nice day.